Have you recently discovered that your health insurance policy does not have top-notch features? Or have you discovered that your insurance claims processes are really very slow? Or do you want to change a policy that was bought online to an agent? Just like your SIM card, now your health insurance policies also offer portability. By portability, I mean you can change your policy from one insurer to the other while keeping all continuity benefits and all credits for the pre-existing diseases that you have got. So today in this video, we are going to talk about health insurance portability. An in-depth checklist we will provide. What are the things that you should follow while porting out your health insurance policy? Before we start, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we can share such interesting insights with you. So let's first start off and understand what is the need for health insurance portability. Suppose you bought a policy 5 years ago and you now discover that the policy has got room rent limit or a co-payment or does not have unlimited restoration and you want to change policies now. If you buy a new policy, all the pre-existing medical conditions will have a waiting period again and all the standard waiting periods also apply. In order to solve this problem, we have something known as health insurance portability. According to health insurance portability, within the same policy, you can change your insurer from insurer A to insurer B, from policy A to policy B, and all the continuity benefits will accrue to you. So health insurance portability is really very important when you want to upgrade your policy or lower down your premium. Let's take an example. Mr. X bought a policy 10 years ago and had a co-pay of 20%. He did not verify this while buying the policy. Now he suddenly realizes that his policy has co-pay. Now all the continuity benefits of the last 10 years have accrued to him, and if he buys a new policy, then the waiting periods will start again. So what Mr. X can really do here is port the policy out into a different insurer with no co-pay and all the benefits of a comprehensive policy. So the policy will get changed, the policy terms and conditions will get changed, and he will have all the continuity benefits of the previous policy. So what are the benefits of porting your policy out? Point number 1, credit for the waiting periods that are served. Health insurance policies come with a waiting period. There is a 30-day waiting period from the issuance of the policy, 2-year waiting period for standard diseases like cataract, kidney stone, gallbladder stone, and 3-year waiting period for pre-existing medical conditions. So if you port out, you get credit for all of these illnesses. For example, Mr. X had bought a policy 5 years ago and he was diagnosed with hypertension. He had declared this while buying the policy and now he wants to port out this policy. So when Mr. X will port out the policy, his continuity benefit of the last 5 years will be given to him and there will be no additional waiting period in the new policy. So the credit for the waiting periods will be given during porting. This is one of the most important features of porting and should always be used rather than buying a new policy. Point number 2, credit for the moratorium period. Recently IRDAI has passed a law saying a health insurer cannot reject claims on any grounds other than fraud after 5 years. So when you port out a policy, the period that you have served in the previous policy as well as the new policy will be counted for the moratorium. For example, if Mr. X bought a policy 10 years ago and he now wants to port out the policy, under the moratorium period, credit for all the 10 years will be given to him and now the new insurer is not liable to reject claims under any circumstances. So this is one of the most important benefits of porting out the policy. The moratorium period credit is given to you, and if you have served 5 years, the insurer is not liable to reject any claims. Let's then check what happens during porting. When you port out a policy, let's say from HDFC Ergo to Star Health, the new insurer, who is Star Health, will again do a process of underwriting. What is underwriting? Underwriting is a process where the insurer will go in depth and check all the pre-existing medical conditions that you have got, and basis that pre-existing medical condition, the insurer will take a call whether he wants to port you or not. Let's take an example. Mr. X bought a policy 5 years ago and he had only hypertension 5 years ago, which is declared in his HDFC Ergo policy. Now during the years, Mr. X had got a heart attack and because of that heart attack, he had taken a claim from HDFC Ergo. Now today he wants to port to Star Health. So when he ports to Star Health will check all the pre-existing medical conditions, for example hypertension as well as the heart attack that he had got. Now Star Health will, after checking all of these medical conditions, Star Health will decide whether they will allow to port or not. Generally, if you have got a critical illness, the new insurer will not allow you to port. In this case, Mr. X will not be allowed to port since he's got an heart attack. So whenever you port, disclose all pre-existing medical conditions honestly. The insurer will underwrite the policy again basis the pre-existing medical conditions that you have got. The insurer will then decide if he wants to allow you to port or not. When should you port out policies? This is a very important question You should not port out unnecessarily. Today, health insurance agents are forcing customers to port out their policies time and again. You must not frequently port out. You should port out under 2 or 3 conditions. Condition number 1, the policy terms and conditions of your existing policies are pretty bad. They have room rent limit, or they have co-payment, or they have sublimits on treatment of diseases. Then you should think about porting out the policy. Condition number 2, the quality of your agent as well as the quality of your insurer is really very bad, and in order to get better service, you are trying to port out. Condition number 3, the premium in your policy is surging out, and in order to move to a lower premium, you are trying to port out the policy. So these are the 2 or 3 conditions when you should consider to port out. I repeat, senior citizens should never port out. Any citizen who is above 70 should avoid porting their policy out, because porting creates a lot of problem in pre-existing medical condition disclosure, and if you miss out on disclosing any of the pre-existing conditions, then it will be a major problem. So senior citizens must not port out. If these 3 conditions are met, then you should port out. So what is the checklist that you should follow when you port out? We have prepared a 5-point checklist in order to port. Condition number 1, check the terms and conditions of the new policy. The terms and conditions of the new policy should be far superior than the terms and conditions of the older policy, and that is when you should port. Point number 2, arrange all the documentation work that the new insurer is asking you for. During porting, there will be an underwriting process. In the underwriting process, the insurer will check all the pre-existing medical conditions. So you must provide all documents relating to your pre-existing medical conditions. Point number 3, check if the premium is really affordable in the new insurer. Check what is the future course of premium hikes. Every health insurance policy takes a premium hike. Some take it yearly, some take it in 5 years. So kindly check with your insurer or your agent what is the future course of premium hikes. Point number 4, check the quality of the insurer. You must check the quality of the insurer. If the insurer is rejecting claim for nonsense reasons, then you should think about whether you want to port or not. Quality of the insurer is really very important when you consider to port. Point number 5, and the most important point, provide all medical conditions accurately and honestly to the insurer. What do I mean by pre-existing medical conditions? Any hospitalization that may have occurred from the start of life, or any addictive medication like the medication for diabetes, cholesterol, hypertension, and so on. If ever you have taken any of these, inform all of these to the insurer. Not disclosing pre-existing medical condition again to the insurer will lay down the seeds for claim rejection in the future. So follow these 5 points very closely, and if you have any doubts, contact your agent. Let's come to the last point. How do you port out your policy? You can only port out your policy 45 days before the renewal of the policy. Once you are in that 45-day window, contact the new insurer with whom you want to port, fill out the portability form, and give all the medical disclosures honestly to the insurer. Once you do this, the insurer's medical teams will cross-verify all the pre-existing medical conditions and will also ask you for any documentation work that is there. Then the insurer will give you their final decision in terms of if they want to increase the premium, or if they want to impose any waiting periods, or if they want to not accept you. All of this needs to be done for 30 to 45 days before the expiry of the policy, and it's a very easy process. You can approach the insurer directly or preferably through an agent. So what is the conclusion then? Health insurance portability is a great concept. It allows you to change policies while keeping all the existing continuity benefits. However, it must not be used irrationally. Health insurance portability should be done only if your policy conditions are really very bad, or if you have a very bad agent or a very bad insurer. Apart from this, you must not port out your policy. Once you have decided to port out your policy, follow our checklist that we have given and disclose all pre-existing medical conditions honestly with the insurer. Once you do this, portability becomes really very easy. We hope you liked our video on health insurance portability. We will keep sharing these exciting videos with you. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to share more interesting insights with you.